وكفى وسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى أما بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والذين جاهدوا فينا لنهدينهم سبلنا سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون سلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم. As a professor, I have noticed that while you want to make sure that your students are learning the outcomes of the course, and with it comes different tests and exams that you administer, which the students may not like, the profession also comes with a certain level of care towards the students. And so I find myself when I'm teaching that there are a lot of students that I tend to give excuses to them so they can succeed in the class. If they're not doing well on their exams, I will give them more numbers on the homeworks if they're doing it. If they're not doing the homeworks, class participation, etc., etc. So really the idea is that, give them that extra things that they will need to succeed. And this really comes, more from a care, a compassion that a teacher might feel for their students. Now, when you look at this month of Ramadan, a month that is known as Shahrul Ghufran, the month of forgiveness, it seems that everything is arranged. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is just giving an excuse to forgive us. Now, obviously I still fail students. There are few students every semester who fail in their class. Who are those students? Those students who are not necessarily interested in learning anything. Their disinterest goes to such an extent, they're not trying, they're not making an effort, they're not really doing anything in the class. So even if you want to give them an excuse, it just wouldn't be fair that, you pass such students. So similarly, only those people fail to benefit from the month of Ramadan, from this ghufran of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who just turn their faces away from Allah, who are just disinterested in the deen, who have no interest to make any effort, any striving whatsoever. Right? So they are completely divorced from the deen. They're completely divorced from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They're so distant that they have literally written themselves off. And we know from hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam that Jibreel alayhi salam came and he made dua for such people that they should enter into Jahannam, they should be punished. And our Master sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said Ameen to that dua. And, ulama have written that, while one wonders why somebody who is so shafiq and ra'uf and rahim towards his ummah, why would he say Ameen to such a dua? Because it's not a normal person making a dua, right? It is the leader of the angels. It is Jibreel alayhi salam who is making the dua. And of course, he doesn't do anything without the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And who is saying Ameen to the dua? Khatamul Nabiyyin, Imamul Anbiya, he is saying Ameen to the dua. So there's a big wa'id, there's a big alarming situation that we find ourselves in, that people who do not get themselves forgiven in this month of Ramadan, may they be destroyed, may they be given punishment. So we have to really be cognizant of that. So it's not necessarily, okay, this is a great chance and opportunity to become a wali of Allah. We have to change. We have to transform. We have to get ourselves forgiven. Meaning we have to become serious about it. And so there's so many excuses. Every single day Allah Ta'ala takes, countless people from Jahannam, and Allah Ta'ala forgives them. Allah Ta'ala forgives that iftar time. Allah Ta'ala forgives that sahri time. Allah Ta'ala accepts du'as. The animals are making dua. The birds are making dua. The critters, they're making, it's just like excuse after excuse after excuse. There are hadiths, multiple hadiths that mention that if a person fasts with iman and with the hope of reward, Allah Ta'ala will forgive them. If a person stands, in qiyam as we do in Taraweeh and later, again with iman and with the hope for reward, Allah Ta'ala forgives them. A person who engages with Laylatul Qadr, again with iman and with the hope of reward. It's just, countless ahadith that are just on, this chance versus this chance versus this chance. Allah Ta'ala wants to forgive us. Right? But Allah Ta'ala is also adil. Right? So you have to want to get yourself forgiven. You have to want to do tawbah. And so today, if you noticed, the hufaz, that the surahs that they were reading, they were filled with stories of Anbiya. The story of Nuh alayhi salam. This is really, it's the reprimand that comes with the story. That Nuh alayhi salam, he advises his son that, Ya bunayya, that my son, come with us on this boat. And, he's overconfident. Again, he's like turned away himself from Allah Ta'ala. It's like this rationality coming in. I don't need your help. I am going to survive. I'm going to climb this high mountain and nothing can touch me. Right? So this is like challenging Allah subhanahu. This is like being rebellious. And right in front of the eyes of the Nabi of the Waqt. Right? Adam Thani. The sun is destroyed. Just from a human perspective, this is a tragedy, right? Your son getting destroyed in front of your eyes. And so, he makes the dua that, Ya Allah Kareem, the son is from my family. And, of course, the adab is there. So you can why did you do this? No. The son is from the family and, your wa'das, the al-haq, the promises that you make, they are true. They are always true. And, your ahkam al-hakimeen, insan does not understand the hikmat Allah, you are ahkam al-hakimeen. And then, the ayah that comes after that, don't even call him your family. He's not from your family. Ghayru salih. A person who's not righteous, how do you call himself your son? He's not your son. He's not your family. Somebody who's from your blood, you have raised him from a baby to this Jawan right in front of you. Not just from a human perspective. Right? And people who have experienced fatherhood, they understand how precious it is. Right? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right there, Allah is saying, none of these blood bonds matter. None, doesn't matter. If this person is ghayru salih, he's not from your ahad. He's not from your family. And then says, don't ask me about these things, lest you become amongst the ignorant, min al-jahili. This is a Nabi of the world. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Jalla Jalalahu. This is no joke. Of course we invoke Allah Ta'ala's rahmat and His karam and His fadl, but you also have to be talking about Malik al-Mulk, Zul Jalali wal Ikram. You're talking about Allah subhanahu, who does not need us in the slightest bit. We depend upon Him completely, utterly, absolutely. Right? And so, we cannot minimize, the ta'alluq between the khaliq and the makhluk. Baqi and the fani. Right? Somebody who's temporal and somebody who's awwalul, akhir, wa zahir, wal batin. Right? We cannot, we should really keep that majesty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in our mind. And so he's saying, and right away, this is the bandagi, even of the Nabi. This is this servitude, right? Even of the Nabi of the world. Same dua as Adam alayhi salam, he's Adam alayhi salam, he's making the same dua. That, I seek, this is very important. Allah, I seek your protection. He's seeking Allah Ta'ala's protection that Allah, I make a request, or I ask a question, or I do something, right? That I don't know. I don't want to do this. And then he makes, Ya Allah, forgive me, and Allah have mercy upon me. And if you don't do it, لَنَكُنَّ مِنَ الْخَاسِرِينَ, the same way that I will be from amongst the people who are lost, of khasra, and of nuqsan, and right? I'll be annihilated. And so, bandagi, right? Being, showing our submission and surrender to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then we also heard the story of Yusuf alayhi salam. He's being enticed. The greatest enticement for a man is from the opposite gender. And, getting that kind of enticement, getting that kind of, da'wat, right? Invitation. There's nobody there. You get the invitation, and what is the righteousness, the taqwa in him? Right? What does he say? قَالَ مَعَاذَ اللَّهِ. That, I seek Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's protection from this. When she said, قَالَتْ حَيْتَ اللَّهِ, قَالَ مَعَاذَ اللَّهِ. This is such a beautiful way Allah Ta'ala describes it. And this is what we have to do as well. Keeping Allah Ta'ala's majesty, and having that khashiyat and khawf and whatnot. And if a person makes a mistake, submit and surrender. Complete submission, no rationalization. Allah, I seek your protection that I do something, I say something, I feel something, I desire something that goes against your wishes. Allah, I seek protection, your protection from this. Okay, if you don't, Allah, forgive me. Allah, you don't show me mercy. Allah. Khatam to वैसे भी होना, but we will be destroyed in this dunya and akhirah. So anyways, the story of Ramadan is that, again, in Urdu they say, and there's no, I can't translate it in English, my English isn't that well, Allah ki rahmat, josh marti, josh marna. When you're cooking tea, when it boils, that's called josh marna, right? It just boils over. Right? So when we say Allah ki rahmat josh marti, it's just that, of course you can't limit it, but from our human perspective, it's like overflowing. Right? It's like overflowing. Everything in this month is overflowing with the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it's a good way to, make use of the Shahrul Ghufran, getting ourselves forgiven, changing our lives, transforming ourselves, submitting, surrendering. May Allah Ta'ala make it easy for all of us. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillah.